Is this a drill or something?
Greetings, Exalted Ones. My name is Dash. I'm incredibly excited to bring you my interview with Anna Graves, aka Duchess Satine of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Unfortunately, the intro did cut out by a couple of seconds, and I apologize in advance, but you definitely want to check it out as we answer a lot of questions I'm sure that you have. Welcome, Anna.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
And we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some important things. One is obviously we've spoken to James Arnold Taylor about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it wouldn't be right unless we talked about Satine. But first, something very exciting. You've actually voiced Princess Leia in Disney Infinity 3.0, if you'd like to tell us about that.
I did, and it was amazing. I actually didn't know what I was coming into to work for, and Dara was the voice director who I had worked with before from Lucasfilm, and I had done Princess Leia for a pinball app. If you've ever played Star Wars pinball app, and then I did the Battle Pod, the Star Wars Battle Pod arcade game, and so then I just was requested. They were like, "Hey, we need you to come in for this Princess Leia thing," and I was like, "Yes, of course, I'll be there." And then I saw the script when I walked in. So it was amazing. And we did a lot of content in one 4-hour session.
Oh, wow. 1 4-hour. So they didn't, there was no like pickups. They didn't say like, let's go back and record this. They were like, nope.
No.
Just done. And is that a normal thing where you start with something where they're like, oh, would you like to do pinball? And then they were like, you know what? We need Leia again, Anna Graves. And then it just keeps scaling? Or is that a general thing, or are you just lucky to jump in there?
You know, I mean, anyone who's a business person, you just call it, repeat business. It's
Yes.
If you do your job and you do it well, and you hope that people call you again. And for me, getting to voice Leia is amazing. I grew up a Star Wars fan, and so I take it very seriously. I try to do the best version that I can, the best Leia version.
Which is actually, it's funny because that's something I've been told about you throughout the Star Wars community, that your knowledge of Star Wars is second to none. So I hope I've set these questions up right. Otherwise, I'm going to get something thrown back at me that I'm not ready for. But something I wanted to talk about with your body of work, which really excited me, is you worked on games such as Guild Wars 2, Massive Chalice, all of these games that I've covered before. But Ratchet and Clank, I think it's Full Frontal Assault.
Correct.
Actually, that technically you worked with James Arnold Taylor on that. Well, I mean, not directly, but how did that work?
No, it's funny because I actually sent him a message after I left the session. I was like, "Hey, we worked together today, but not really."
Not really. I mean, but still, that was it.
I said I didn't see you there, but I knew you were there because I'm not a huge gamer. It's really funny because I always say things and set myself up, and I say, "Oh, I'm going to play that game. I am going to play that game. I'm going to play more. I'm going to do this." And someday, but when I played games more, Ratchet and Clank was the first one that I got hooked on, and I bought all of them. And so when I got called to work on the next game, I was just like very excited. So, but yeah, no, James and I had the same manager for a while too. My manager does mainly promos and trailers. I got into the VO business doing promos and commercials, and respecting people like Don LaFontaine. He was the voice of God. He was the in a world guy. And I went to a book signing and got, met him and saw him at a couple of other functions. And he was the one who really pushed me as a female voiceover artist to continue doing promo and trailer and talking about how movie advertising was changing and always, becoming something new to fans and viewers. So James and I, shared that in common, and
And then obviously the next thing that we're going to talk about with which you shared in common is you both voiced characters on the Clone Wars.
we did.
You did, but there we go. Except, obviously you
I
can
have
show off the
my
lightsaber
lightsaber.
skills.
Yes.
Where did you get that bad boy from?
I got this beauty from. Come on. I beat too many people up with the sound effects are waning. I got this from the season 4 Clone Wars premiere. They had it at the Long Beach Aquarium, and it was really cool because the first 2 episodes were the water world episode, the water episodes, Water War, and I played Senator Mina Tills, who was sort of like I walked in and I was like, so who is this character? And Dave said, it's the female version of Akbar, and I was like, got it.
Yes. So what did that must have like in your head? Were you like female? It's a trap. Like is that?
Yeah, no. I immediately and they were making fun of me too. I remember Matt was making fun of me. James was making fun of me. Corey Burton totally didn't make fun of me because he's used to making faces. I like to change my face and the way I look when I'm playing a voice character, which is, when they have a camera on you, you're like, why do we have to capture this? But yeah, I changed the way that I held my mouth because their lips don't look like our lips, and clenched up my throat and did my version of Admiral Akbar.
And it turned out so well. That's absolutely insane. I think people don't realize that, obviously with the different functions or, like, as you said, if they don't have the same physiology, that you have to make do. And it's imagination plus kind of working on the fly. It must be hard in the booth, to really pull that off and to, maintain that for hours on end.
Well, think about the different voices that you can do with, the different sounds that you can make, tones, pitch. So if you mix tone with pitch with shape, and you talk through your teeth, and you're just more of a, like a grittier person, and then you add an accent on top of it. And there's a lot of people who are very, open their mouths and are very wide with their vowels, and so that's going to change your character. That's going to change the way that they sound.
No, totally makes sense. In terms of when you played Duchess Satine, and obviously the story arc and Mandalore and everything, when you were thinking about that and going into it, and you saw the parallels between Anakin and Padme, and then Satine and Obi-Wan playing out before, like how did that feel to go into that knowing that you were opening like this whole can of worms that nobody ever expected?
Sort of a warm, fluttery feeling, really. Just sort of a glow, just a glow. Yeah, it's something you can't label. You can't just say, oh, it's very special. Yes, it was special, and we talked about those past complicated relationships and the things that Jedi have to give up. One main thing being love and personal ties. So Dave and I talked about that a lot when we were creating her character.
Sure, and again, it was something so strange to have a story about Obi-Wan and obviously being in love and losing it, and how impactful that was. What was the emotion like when you were filming those scenes, the death scene? Because obviously it was hard for James, and like, just if you could walk us through it, because nobody really has a conception of what that was like for you.
Oh, sure. We knew it was coming too. There had been some ideas and some... when I found out what was going to happen, I was surprised and shocked because, first of all, everyone else still thought that Darth Maul was dead. And when Dave Filoni said, well, Darth Maul is going to kill you as one act of revenge against Obi-Wan Kenobi, I was like, whoa. He died in episode 1. And he said, oh, yeah, we're bringing him back.
And was that a 30 minutes of, but how? What do you mean magic?
Because you can't ask, details. And at that point, I didn't even know if the details had been fleshed out. This was like April. And then of that year, what was that? April of 2011 or something like that, or 2012. And then later that year, I remember in October, the big trailer came out, the big reveal that Darth Maul was coming back. And everyone was so excited.
It's massive, yeah.
I was totally not excited.
Yeah, because the implications. That's harsh.
Yeah, sure. And it was, and then as for the actual coming in and recording those sessions, they were very emotional. They were very sad, and it was very because we became very close. All of the voice actors, we were doing the episodes together. I think I did close to 20 episodes with them, and they, are brilliant, lovely people. And James and I had a good rapport for the Duchess
Yeah.
Satine and Obi-Wan, and we had respect for where that love was and where it was going, and it was really sad.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, that the one thing that struck me that I can't understand, and it rolls around in my head a little bit, is
Mhm.
people that are so virtuous and altruistic. Obviously, during that time, that Jedi era, love was forbidden, and the romantic relationship attachment was forbidden because it led to the dark side. I can't fathom how Obi-Wan Kenobi or Satine, like how they could move to the dark side. Do you believe that they could actually hold to the light? And if things went in a different course and they were in love and did actually pursue that?
Are you saying that if they were actually going to follow through with their love, that
Yeah.
perhaps would have led to more negative things in their lives?
Yeah, if they could, if they could have been the exception at the time.
It's a really good, that's a very good question,
Yeah.
Dash. Um, you know, I I feel as though we all have good in us and we all have bad in us, right? Um, and I feel like Satine in particular, as well as Obi-Wan, are people who will always focus on the good, will always
Yeah.
focus on turning it around and seeing the positive side of things.
Yeah.
And which I think made them a good leader and a good, I mean, he such a good example for Anakin. I mean, he was, you know, I think that ultimately it would have worked out either way. They probably would have been the exception to the rule.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's really nice. Some closure now. I'm just going to take your word and say, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. So that's why I'm happy with it. And as a final question, if I may, it's something I ask everybody, and it's about Star Wars Rebels moving forward.
Yeah.
And that is, how do you believe that series would end?
Oh God. I you have so many layers to that show and so many options
Yeah.
that I mean, I think that eventually the crew will break up and all go their own separate ways. That's my own version of it.
That no, that's great. I keep saying they're going to end up on Alderaan before it blows up, but I like this better.
No,
So,
I know, you know how when you're thrust into a situation and you have a strong connection with someone, it's for them it's going to be it's the college years. These are their college
yeah.
years where they're sustaining, they're fighting, they're surviving, they're making things happen, they're finding out things about themselves and who they really are, each and every one of them.
Mhm.
And I feel like their paths will eventually.
So the friction or maybe the battle. I love it. Yeah, that totally makes sense. The only other thing that I really want to cover, because again it's been fantastic to have you, is obviously if people interested in you and your body of work and just want to follow you and find out what you're doing day to day, what is the best way to keep up to date with Anna
Yeah,
Graves?
no, I please write to me on Twitter, Gravy Voice.
These will
And
be on screen, by the way, so you just say them and I'll put them on screen.
Gravy Voice is my Twitter account, and then I'm also on Facebook with Anna Graves, voice actor. Um, and yeah, that's about it. You can see, we have our IMDb pages. Of course, you look me up on IMDb. That's my video game
Yeah.
and animation jobs. So anything that I'm working on right now won't be up for another 2 years.
That's
So
something good to know. People have been asking me. Literally, I had a question yesterday about that. How do you talk to these people and how do I track them down? I was like, well, just look at look at IMDb. That's a great place to search for people and see their body of work.
oh,
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah, sure. And I mean, as a voice actor who respects other voice actors, like growing up, I was an actor, I was a dancer, a singer, an entertainer, a person who just wanted to tell stories, obviously. And this is the way that I love to do it. And before the internet, you had to do your research. You had
Yeah.
to, watch the credits and find out who those people were. And
Yeah.
it was really difficult to get information on voice actors, like in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, that would be crazy.
Right, all the Hanna-Barbera stuff, all the I mean, I was a huge just Saturday morning geek, and then other than that, it was Warner Brothers cartoons during the week and the Three Stooges. So that was my TV life.
No, it makes sense. So that again, if you want to follow Anna, by all means, follow the links in the description and also on the screen right now. But the beauty of this video is our love of Star Wars. It surrounds and it binds us together. So let me know in the comments below, how do you think things would have ended for Satine and Obi-Wan? Because if you love Star Wars, we want to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that.
May the Force be with you.
If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Always.